One of the moral teachings of the Catholic Church is the idea that all life is sacred from conception to the moment of natural death. We've asked Mr. Campanelli for his thoughts on why Christians still have held this idea for generations.
The gift of life, it comes from God. God is the author of life, so our life is very special.
Part 3, Section 2, Chapter 2, Article 5, Excerpt 2258 in the Catechism of the Catholic Church states that human life is sacred because from its beginning it involves the creative action of God, and it remains forever in a special relationship with the Creator, who is its sole end. God alone is the Lord of life from its beginning until its end. No one can under any circumstance claim for himself the right directly to destroy an innocent human being. With this in mind, we went around Bishop Redding to ask whether or not students agree or disagree with the stance of the Catholic Church.
My thoughts on abortion, a whole subject is just like such a broad topic. My personal opinion would be like, it's just to each their own. Like if I had a baby that I did not want to keep, I would actually of course I would take into consideration, but like sometimes it's just some things that just go into that factor. So like me, I don't fully agree with it.
I think there's a little bit of a blurry line between like conception, more or less, because if it's a few cells in an embryo, then I wouldn't necessarily define it as that. I'd say like mid to late second trimesters when I'd qualify like making life viable, more or less, just because at that point like the organism's pretty well established to be valued. So I think that's kind of where the distinction lies. But yes, more or less I agree, yeah.
Okay, so my thoughts on abortion, it's obviously bad. We shouldn't be killing, kids who have potential, because these kids who grow up could be like, future stars, future doctors, future whatever, we're just killing them off. And plus they have no say on it. And plus it goes against church teaching, God doesn't want us killing his, future prospects, his future children, so no.
After hearing some responses from people, we decided to ask Mr. Campanelli what his thoughts were on it. We already understand the church's stance on things such as abortion, because obviously the church believes that all life begins at the moment of conception.
Yeah.
Are there any instances where the church allows cases of abortion?
Good question.
Maybe in the catechism or?
From what I understand of the teachings of the Catholic Church, under no circumstances. So we can't take the life of an innocent child at any stage, in the womb, outside of the womb.
Including of cases of rape or incest?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So, and the way we look at that is, so that was one sin that was committed, because rape is that's evil, that's sin. Incest, evil, that's sin. But we're not going to create another sin by killing that child who's in the womb. So two wrongs don't make a right.
Instead of sticking with babies, we decided to switch our questions around and ask people about the death penalty and their thoughts on it, whether they agree or disagree that people should die based on the crime they've committed.
I believe that all life is sacred unless you were to take away someone else's life.
I agree.
With enough research, we were able to find a theory that supports the students' ideas. Locke's theory of natural rights believe that we, the person, do not own ourselves, but is indeed the property of God, and therefore it is our duty to preserve our life for him. In Locke's understanding, a person's right to life is lost when injuring or harming another. This is such a radical way of thinking, and of course people within the community would scrutinize him for it, but we can see countries such as the United States implementing this idea within its justice system for criminals that commit a heinous crime. There are people who have a different take on this.
I don't know, I prefer reformation opposed to the death penalty. But again, I think that's also very subjective. It kind of depends on what the crime is and how far along they are. If it's more or less like a mental issue, then rehabilitation would be an option.
In conclusion, the sanctity of human life is about how human beings are to be perceived and treated. Without this perception and treatment of one another, our society can crumble towards it on top of itself and fall.